and back on YouTube for the 1 p.m. live stream. And today, actually, hold on just 1 second. I gotta go close a window quickly. I'll be right back. Okay, I made it back. Ryan, how's it going? Just had to close the window. We're getting some noise from the outside. Let me see if I get myself straight. What's happening? Christopher, good to see you. Ryan, good to see you. Everybody watching this, good to have you join. Let's give it a few minutes. Yesterday was the first day back of Freemasonry in Windsor with Trinity Lodge. It was awesome visiting them. I had a blast. It was really, really fun. And now I get to be here. Welcome, Smokey. Thank you for the hearts as always. So today's topic is things to prepare for upon returning to Lodge, or another way to say it is if you are returning to Lodge, what are some type of things that you as a Freemason need to be thinking about and need to be getting ready for? Because obviously we have a summer break. That can be a lot of fun. Hopefully, there was lots of pizza. The pizza was great. Right. Hopefully, though, as part of that returning to Lodge, you are taking the time to think about some of the things that you will need, some of the things that are necessary and important. Coming to Lodge is not the type of thing you just do, right? There are things you need to think about before you go, or you should think about before you go. 30 applications for a new job already? That's very impressive. That's a lot to do so quickly. I will keep my fingers crossed for you. Absolutely. And by the way, I hope everybody enjoyed yesterday's discussion again on email etiquette, email protocol, email hygiene, all the things that you need to do or you should be doing as a secretary or somebody responsible for communication with Masons, how to make sure your emails are getting seen, how to make sure your emails are not getting into the spam folder, how to write them so that they are easily understandable and get the information across that they need. One of the big tips, I'll mention it again, usually emails are more likely to be opened and read on a Sunday or a Monday. So maybe when you're communicating via email to your lodge membership, send out your emails on Sunday night or Mondays. They're more likely to be read at that point. Welcome, Mr. Keeps. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, Smokey, good for you. 30 applications is a very impressive number, and I will knock on wood for you and wish you the best of luck. As always, the first hour is just me hanging out and chatting, and then the second hour is going to be more specific topics. Today, what to do to get ready for the return to Lodge. Again, in Windsor, we have returned to Lodge meetings. First meeting back was yesterday. I believe it was the first meeting back for the whole district, but certainly for the city of Windsor, it was the first meeting back as well. You did. I hope everything's okay. What did you miss yesterday? What happened? Were you just hanging out with some friends? I hope that's what you were doing, or chilling out, or having a good time. I hope that you were having. I hope you had a fun. Weekend or fun. I guess what was yesterday? Fun Wednesday. But for now, let's give it a bit of time. Actually, I'm going to ask this as a poll question. All right, and for now, though, the first hour, as always, is just us hanging out and chatting. No specific topics to discuss. The second hour is when we'll get into the more specific topics and discussions surrounding, for example, what to do upon return to lodge. One thing I was thinking of doing for fun, which I don't know if you guys would be interested in this or not. I've been talking about it for a while. There's this movie coming out called The Long Walk, which I'm beyond excited for. And the premise of The Long Walk is it takes place in some type of dystopian future where every year there's this televised contest where a group of young men, in the book it's ages 14 to 19 or 18. I think in the movie it looks like it's 19 plus. Anyways, welcome back, Griffin Eldridge. Good to have you back. Anyways, the whole premise is they're put in this competition where they're forced to start walking at a pace of 3 miles per hour. If they fall below that pace 3 times, then the 4th time they fall below the pace, they get bullet to the head. So it's one of those contests to the death. Anyways, I was thinking one thing they've been doing for the screenings is they've been having people doing these screenings where they have to watch it. They watch the movie while on a treadmill that's set at 3 miles per hour. So they watch the entire movie while walking at a pace of 3 miles per hour, and if they fall below it, then they end up getting kicked out of the movie. Anyways, I was thinking of doing a thing where I'll go on one of those exercise handbikes. I think they're called. I don't want to use the term because YouTube doesn't like it. Self-deletion bikes, if you will. But set a pace of 3 miles per hour and see if I could do 3 miles per hour on that bike for the duration of the same length as the movie, which would be about an hour and a half, and live stream that, or do a live stream of that on my personal channel. I don't know, that may be kind of fun. I think I could basically wheel or pedal at a pace of 3 miles per hour for 93 minutes. I think. It might be kind of fun to try. My dad's got his first meeting back on Tuesday. Anyways, if I do that, that'd be on my personal YouTube channel, the same channel I did my interview with, or my co-live stream with Smokey the Clown on. Hand bicycle, we'll call it that. But I think I could do a hand cycle of 3 miles per hour for, I think the total time I have to do it for is 90 something minutes. One hour and 48 minutes. So 108 minutes. I could do 108 minutes at 3 miles per hour, I think. By the way, welcome everybody. If you are just joining us, please hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and let me know what you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. I'm going to be talking about very soon what I think we as Masons need to have ready and prepared when it comes to the upcoming Masonic season. Things we should be thinking about, things we should be getting ready for, things that can help us in our efforts. But please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So I do work out pretty frequently. I have actually a gym session scheduled for Saturday. That's one thing I am really proud of, even though I don't often, my eating habits are terrible. I'm trying to be better at those. The amount of water I drink is terrible. I'm trying to be better at that. The one thing I do have that I do is exercise pretty frequently. So I think I could do it, but I would definitely be tired. Don't get me wrong. Maybe we could have other people do it with me. If anybody wanted to watch it and get on the treadmill and, walk at a pace of 3 miles per hour while I'm doing the hand bicycling at a pace of 3 miles per hour, let me know. Could be kind of fun. I don't know. I entered the contest, but I don't know when the draw is. But if I win, believe me, Ryan, you will be the first one to find out. Or everybody on this stream will be the first one to find out. That's for sure. No, I got the joke. I mean, I've never been a huge. It doesn't say it doesn't say when the draw takes place. All I know is I'm entered into the draw to win. Oh, here it is. It ends September 15th, 2025. So I guess the draw would take place September 16th, 2025. Yes, and that is how fast in the movie and in the book. Well, in the book they were set to 4 miles per hour, which seems crazy to me. In the book, it was they had to walk at a pace of 4 miles per hour for as long as they could, and if they fall below enough times, they end up uh, being deleted, if you will. So in the movie, they switched it to 3 miles per hour. Also in the movie, they switched from in the movie, they switched it from 100 characters to 50 characters, which makes sense in terms of being able to keep track of the characters. 100's a lot to film and to shoot and everything. So, anyways, the movie looks incredible, but I thought that might be kind of fun. And I have to work out anyway, so I get a workout in, something different. It's always fun to try something new. It would be good times. It is very much like The Departed CrossFit, Ryan. It is very much like The Departed CrossFit. I hope everybody though watching this is doing well. Please, as always, take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know how you're doing. If you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. And then, like I said, once we get to the hour mark, I'm going to be talking about things that Freemasons should do as we are getting ready for the 2025 fall season. Well, it sounds like Mr. Keeps would want to join me. Mr. Keeps, if you were to do that with me and get on a treadmill, let me know. It'd be kind of fun. We can maybe start looking at doing some mutual streams together, something like that. But yeah, I think I might do that on Saturday because I'm going to see the movie. My plan right now is to see the movie on Thursday, September 11th. So it's about a week away. It's going to be a birthday gift to me because my birthday this month. So going to see that movie is going to be my birthday celebration. So that's my personal channel. So that's youtube.com/Cameron Adamson. You can find me. You can find it there. Yes, I've got a few birthday gifts already. Ellie's Pancake House gave me $5 off my meal, so that was really fun for my birthday month. And then we'll see what else I've got going on. Mostly, there's always something Masonic to deal with or take care of. Thank you, Smokey. Yes, thank you. I may do something for my stream as well in terms of a birthday stream. Or I mean, I am doing my no Smokey. Now you've lost me. Now you've lost me. September 22nd. So what I'm doing for that is from the 21st to the 22nd, I'm doing a 24-hour live stream. Right? I'm doing them the 21st of every month. At least that's my plan. So that will be a lot of fun. So yeah, it's going to be really good. And I'm looking forward to doing it quite a bit. And there'll be a lot of other stuff for my birthday as well. This weekend, no, it's too late. You brought up ranch pizza, so now you're officially. I mean, I'm not going to ban you from the chat, but you're on the bad list. 26, Dad. 26 years old. So there is that. You know, I can't be 25 anymore. I have to be honest with myself. I'm 26. By the way, excuse the noise. I'm getting my place cleaned right now. I needed to have a good cleaning, so no, not barbecue. No ranch of any sort. Just ranch is gross. Ranch is gross. We all know ranch is gross. So absolutely not. Even with barbecue, I'll take barbecue pizza, but not barbecue ranch pizza. As always, another 45 minutes. Then I'm going to start talking about what Masons need to be thinking about in 2025 as they return to Lodge. There's a lot of things. And I'm going to do probably an email about this on Sunday as well. So be prepared for that. If you're not on my email list, please join. info@squareandcompass.ca. Welcome. Yeah, no special brownies for me. Okay, very cool, Ryan. Thank you so much for that. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It was fun. The baseball game was a blast. Well then, I guess, Ryan, you can take my special brownie for my birthday. That's perfectly fine. I will take no special brownie for me. Just you being here, hitting the like and subscribe button. If you want to if you want to support me, what you can do is go to my Patreon. That would be very helpful. By the way, congratulations to, I had it here somewhere. That would be awesome. Congratulations to the James Webb Space Telescope. They found something near Uranus, and despite the fact that I am over 40 years old, I still can't read the statement, they discovered something near Uranus, and not laugh. My first thing I want to say is, was it your mom? But as you know, I've talked a lot about Freemasonry and science, the importance of Freemasons paying attention to scientific discoveries. And the James Webb Telescope just discovered a brand new moon hiding in the shadows of Uranus. So there you go. Uranus is so big it can hide a moon within it. And if you're like me and you find that funny, there you go. So Ryan is like me. We have a very childish sense of humor. All right, we have got 6 votes, by the way. Have you returned to your Masonic meetings? Yes, 17%. No, 17%. Not a Mason, 67%. So there is still one. Looks like we still one Mason who has returned, one who's still waiting till Tuesday, and then most are not Masons on this stream. So Smokey the Clown has the same sense of humor as I do when it comes to Uranus. Oh, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. There was a time when I really wanted Neil deGrasse Tyson to give a talk at the Windsor Masonic Temple. The problem was it was way too expensive to get him to come out. But I haven't forgotten about that yet, and it's still my hope. Whenever they do any shows at the Coliseum, I try to hit up the entertainers and see if they want to visit the Windsor Masonic Temple. Never really have any luck, but it's always my goal. It's always my list. Like tonight, Tom Segura is going to be at the at Caesars Windsor. I guess one of those things where I have no idea if he's I don't think he's a Mason or anything, but I'd love to have him come out and visit the building. I think one thing we need to do as Freemasons is we need to be much better at making sure we invite any famous people, any influential people who are coming to our cities, towns. We need to invite them to our buildings, to our temples, to take tours, whatever it is. I mean, all that stuff can help out majorly, right? So it helps get us on the map. I try to have a good vibe, Smokey. Whether I'm successful or not, I do not know, but I try my best to have a decent vibe. So I'm finally getting my windows cleaned, so hence the noise. Tom Segura is actually... Today he's in Caesars. Tomorrow he's in Dayton. He's probably leaving tonight. I've had some Masons on the stream who were actually tour bus drivers for famous stars. I had the tour bus driver for Prince, which I thought was incredible. He drove Prince's tour buses, which I thought was absolutely awesome. So if you know me, you know I'm a big fan of Prince and Purple Rain. So the fact that we had a guy who was a Mason who was a tour bus operator for Prince, I thought was really, really cool. Well, it just depends on the lodge. Raised eyebrow. That depends on the lodge. I think it makes sense. I wish more lodges would have social media managers. But some lodges will do it, some lodges won't. A lot more lodges, though, are becoming far more open to or supportive of having social media managers. So there you go. I think it's necessary. If you don't have decent social media, then you're kind of behind the times. Okay, you would have been part of the merchant navy, right, Dad? As working on a cruise ship, wouldn't you technically be part of the merchant navy? Or were cruise ships different? It's one of those things. Part of it is being behind the times. Part of it is Freemasonry is just a voluntary organization, and if the majority of the lodge are busy with work and family, they might not have time to take on. Even if somebody does have a background in social media, they may just not have the time or the energy to dedicate to it. So when you're a volunteer organization, that's one of the major challenges that you face very often, is the inability to get people dedicated enough to what they need to be dedicated to. But I agree, in theory, it should seem pretty obvious. But But to be honest, I'm a member of 5 lodges, and I don't know if it's certainly the 3 that I'm go to and attend. Um, don't have social media managers, and then the ones that are out of country that I'm affiliated with, Tranquility and Lodge Holy Land, I don't know if um, they have social media managers. They certainly do a lot on social media. Well, my dad wasn't in the Navy. He was on a cruise ship. But I believe technically anybody who worked on a cruise ship was considered part of the merchant navy. I could be wrong, um, but I think that was the case. But he worked on a cruise ship. He was an engineer on a cruise ship. That's how he met my mom. So uh, uh, you got to be careful with it, right? Those Canadian women, they will steal the men right out of England if they're not careful. I mean, basically, any seaman, and I can't say that without laughing either. Any person who works at sea, who is not part of the armed forces, is considered part of the merchant navy, right? And it comes from, to my understanding, this idea. I mean, it happened in, for example, World War II, where um, merchant seamen, so people who are not part of the Navy, were basically drafted and used to, for example, ferry supplies back and forth or ferry troops back and forth. They were kind of drafted into the war effort, so they were merchant naval officers, but they weren't part of the armed forces officially, which did, in fact, create some issues later on, I learned, in terms of getting the merchant naval officers or seamen adequately compensated because they weren't officially part of the armed forces or the navy. Um, right, I understand that they after World War II had to deal. It was a lot harder for them to get certain types of compensation and support from the armed services uh, because they weren't considered officially part of the Navy, even though they were, again, basically drafted into service. They were the ones bringing supplies back and forth, or really just bringing supplies from America and Canada to the front lines or to Europe. They're also the ones ferrying troops back and forth, and they were also very often in the line of fire and killed um, while sailing back and forth. So, because again, from an enemy's perspective, it could be just as valuable to take out a merchant navy, a merchant ship carrying supplies, as it would be to take out a warship. So, I know that the War Amps Child Amputee program actually did a lot of work in that area, trying to get the merchant seamen and the merchant naval officers the support that they needed after the war. But yeah, so I guess anybody who works at sea is considered a merchant seaman. And just like I can't laugh at the phrase, or I can't not laugh at the phrase, something is hiding in Uranus, I also can't help but laugh at the phrase merchant seaman. I've seen you in your uniform. Um, right? You had a picture of it. Well, that's how you got onto another boat. I remember you said you wore your uniforms and you ended up being admitted onto some type of naval boat or something. I think you even said you gave a salute or something like that for some reason. Um, but a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think that there's a difference. Well, there is, but a lot of people don't realize how connected merchant seamen are to naval officers in the armed forces, right? They've often worked hand in hand and kind of hand to hand and foot to foot, to use a Masonic expression. Yeah, no, we all find it funny. Don't worry, it's not just we're all children at heart. But welcome, if you're just joining us, we're here to chat about Freemasonry. In about half an hour, I'm going to start on my main topic, which is going to be um, talking about what we need to have prepared for what we need to have prepared when returning to lodge after the summer break. It's this idea of no, it was a real uniform, Mr. Keeps on Ticking. It was a legit uniform, right? There's no need for sarcasm like that. Um, I mean, I couldn't do that job, right? There's no way I would have I mean, working on a ship, you're in incredibly close quarters. It's, painstakingly tough work keeping the ship operating, especially for engineers. I mean, for anybody, I assume it's actually a really tough job. Um, in terms of whether you're working in the engineering side of things or working with the passengers, making sure they're safe, right? If the ship gets hit by something, you got to make sure that they're all going to be okay, right? It's going to be incredibly challenging job, no matter what it is, right? I would take pride in having a uniform, working on a boat. I can't imagine it's an easy task. Um, I'm sure there's a lot of rewards from it, not the least of which being that you meet your future wife. But I'm also sure that there's a lot of challenges that came with it. Again, 12-hour shifts, I think. Um, it would be really tough. It's kind of like when I worked in the jails. Uh, every now and then somebody would say something to the effect of like, "It's not real law enforcement." It's like, no, it's real law enforcement. It's as real as any other type of law enforcement, right? So I think sometimes a little less sarcasm in some of these things would be a good thing. Um, when it comes to recognizing how hard people work. Especially, I think the engineering side of things, one of the issues with it is, um, you are, um, like your hard work is actually underground, or not underground, but under the ship. It's not being seen as much as, let's say, the people responsible for interacting with the passengers, right? People interacting with the passengers, at least what they're doing is seen more frequently. Whereas if you're working engineering, you're at the bottom of the ship, you're not being seen in the work that you're being done as well. Well, but you had two uniforms, right? You had your boiler suit and then you had your dress uniform. Because I've seen the pictures of you with your dress uniform on, which I think you had to wear if you're interacting with the public, right? Or interacting with the passengers. Do you have to wear it as well when you were, let's say, on shore leave? Did you have to wear it at all? Like when did you have to wear your dress uniform versus when you had to wear your boiler suit? Which makes sense. You're not going to wear your dress uniform, your whites, if you're down in the boiler. It would get very dirty very quickly. Kind of like how in Freemasonry, district deputies have their fancy dress and then they have their not fancy dress. And welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I would love to hear them. I think that's true for all engineers, Rondo, but absolutely. Engineers make sure whatever is supposed to work is working the way it is supposed to work, if that makes any sense at all. And yes, they do. See, we're all children on this. We're all children on this stream. We all find the phrase "seaman" funny. I don't know if when my dad was working on the boat. Him and his friends were like us and a bunch of children who laughed at that. But I can imagine if I was there, the jokes, I would have giggled every time. So how many uniforms did you have altogether, Dad? Did you have two? The boiler suit and the mess jacket? Or did you have three? I guess was your mess jacket like your like if you went to visit another boat, what would you wear? Would you wear your white shirt and bow tie, or what might you wear at that point? Yeah, I saw the picture of my dad with the. He has a picture of it up on his shelf. So, well, that's always the joke. I mean, the village people. One of them dressed up as a naval officer, right? That's always kind of been. I think Winston Churchill made a joke in that vein, if you will. Winston Churchill was, that was many years ago. We talked a lot in the past about Freemasonry and the Navy and boats. The thing about Freemasonry is it kind of is a child, in some ways. It's a child of the water and a child of naval operations, which sounds kind of funny when you're talking about something that evolved from stonemasonry, but the ability of it to expand outside of England and to the rest of the world really came primarily thanks to the Navy, right? Because when it was formed in 1717, officially, it was formed on an island. So the one way for it to spread outside of that island, especially in 1717, was on boats and masons traveling on ships. In some cases, they would travel on ships for military operations. And then the military officers were themselves Freemasons. In other cases, it was merchant ships, but it was the same thing. In other cases, it was passengers. But all of which would first and foremost travel on boats and ships to get somewhere else, and then set up Freemasonry wherever it is the boat made port. Which is why, for example, in America, the first lodge was in a port town, Boston, St. John's Lodge. Right? And so, what was I trying to say? So yeah, Freemasonry owes a great deal of its growth and a great deal of its, what's the word? A great deal of its growth and a great deal of expansion to transportation over water. N1AFE. I do not know how many Americans does it take to change a light bulb. I know how many Masons it takes to change a light bulb, and the answer is it's a secret. Also, N1AFE. How many N1AFEs does it take to hit the like and subscribe button? Just one, and that's you. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Would be much, much appreciated. But thank you so much for being here. Please, once again, take a moment to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and if there is anything that you want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry. In about 20 minutes, we're going to start on the main topic, which is going to be, once again, what we as Freemasons need to be thinking about when it comes to the return to lodge. I don't know what that means. I mean, the American Navy was, created because they needed to have naval warfare during the Revolutionary War. Interestingly enough, the first admiral of the United States Navy, John Paul Jones, was himself a Freemason. So that's a really cool, I think, an interesting little piece of history. That is true. Hopefully, he would let you know. I mean, the president should know the answer to that. I'm still waiting for our friend N1AFE to let us know. Well, that makes sense. I mean, you need kind of, I mean, even back then, you needed some type of navy and naval operations in order to be successful, I think. But again, Freemasonry just kind of attached itself to naval operations, again, as kind of out of necessity. Freemasons traveled on boats. They didn't travel with the purpose of spreading Freemasonry, but they traveled on boats, and then obviously, as a consequence of that, they set up lodges in ports, towns, ports, places like that. So that was kind of the nature of Masonic travel. Maybe if Freemasonry was invented or founded in 2025, it would be through airplanes, but it was founded at a time when, or cars or whatever it might be, but in 1717, if you wanted to get anywhere, it was either by boat or by horse and carriage, I suppose, or by walking. Look up the fat electrician John Paul Jones. I don't know what that means. I'll check him out. Again, I just know John Paul Jones, the Mason who was the first, who was also the first admiral of the United States Navy. All right, we're going to give it a bit more time, and in about 20 minutes, we're going to start talking about the main subject, which again is going to be things that Freemasons need to be prepared for when it comes to returning to lodge. This is kind of based primarily on a medium story I wrote, Keeping Freemasonry in Mind, which I'm going to talk about. That is, I think I'll be okay. If anything happens to me, you're all here. You can see it, and you can, you can call the police on my behalf. But I think I'm okay. I'm actually just going to see if I can't find war stories. I will check it out for sure, Smokey. Did I see that China prayed about 2 days ago? I did not, but I heard about it. I heard it was pretty, I guess, impressive. I mean, China feels like it's on the ascendancy. It's interesting, there's Freemasonry in China in two spots, Hong Kong and Macau. There's also Masonic lodges, I understand, underground in other locations in China, but the two places where it's most official, anyways, is Hong Kong and Macau. I would love to visit Freemasonry in China, in Hong Kong. When I was going to India, or sorry, the Philippines, when I was going to Manila, I was trying to figure out if there was a potential or a way to visit Hong Kong and like a stopover. Didn't have any luck, but it was on my list of places I wanted to visit, so it still is, by the way. It still is on my list of places I want to visit. You're just keeping Freemasonry in mind. Japan is pretty impressive. I mean, Japan, I've never been to either Japan or China. I've visited friends or I have friends who lived in China, or lived in Japan actually, for a little bit, but never got the chance to visit it myself. I'm told it's an absolutely beautiful place, though, like a really wonderful place to visit. So it's somewhere I'd like to check out, that's for sure. We have, by the way, 11 votes. Have you returned to your Masonic meetings? Yes, 36%. No, 9%. How long were you in Japan for, Smokey? Texas, welcome. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, I hope that you will share with your lodge members those coins and stuff, and let them know about the Patreon for Square and Compass promotions. Would be much appreciated. And to everybody, when's the last time you were in Japan? There's a lot of Freemasonry in Japan too, and that is absolutely on my list of places I want to check out and get to. Thank you. So you said it's the second Tuesday of the month, right? So this might come in handy for you. Just some ideas, again, that I have had that potentially other people can have as well. So that's a great, to get out of prison and go to Japan. Japan is often kind of, I heard, weird about people with criminal records. It can be harder to get in. I heard that they kept like Robert Downey Jr. out of Japan because he had a criminal record. But good for you for getting there. Like I said, I would love to visit it. It'd be one of my favorite places to get to. So give it a few more minutes, then we'll get started.
Can you give me 5 minutes? Yeah. Just I'm gonna vacuum this quick.
No, I got to stay on here.
You don't mind vacuum?
Well, I mean, I got to stay on the channel though. So.
Okay. What do you want me to do? 2 minutes. Just stick it up.
All right, do it quickly.
Sure. 2 minutes. Okay.
All right, we're gonna take a little bit of a break.
Thank you.
We just got to do some vacuuming quickly. So everybody be prepared for a couple-minute break.
Break. That's right.
But I got to get this done. I got to get my place clean because they're doing an inspection coming up. Whenever you have a condo, they always inspect it every couple years. So.
That's the problem. That's the problem with this.
In the meantime, 12 votes. Not a Mason at 58%, no at 8%, yes at 33%. So the people who returned to their Masonic meetings, what was it like returning to them after the break? I'd be really curious to know. Did you enjoy getting back in? Like, what was the experience like getting back to the Masonic lodge meetings for you after the summer break? And we're going to have to take a bit of a break because we're going to have some vacuuming happening in a second. Please ignore the sound of the vacuum. So what we'll do is we'll give it a minute, and then I'll get into my main topic, which will be, once again, on getting things ready for the return to Freemasonry after the fall. Yes, get your applications in, Smokey, but thank you for being here as always. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope that you are doing well. Well, Ghislaine, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I do not think that might be true, and I also do not believe you are actually the Ghislaine Maxwell. I think you might be a troll. So, I nonetheless wish you the best of luck in your efforts. Oh, well, I could put you in timeout, I think. All right, let's give it a few more minutes. Let's wait to see who joins. Yes, I think I think that person was in fact a troll more than anything else. So we'll just leave it, we'll just leave him be. I guess it gives people something to do if they get bored, who knows? Who knows why people do the things they do? I've learned not to worry about it over the years. You'll drive yourself crazy. All right, I'll see you later. Smokey, thank you as always for being here. Thank you everybody who has joined so far. Once the vacuuming is finished, I am going to, like I said, start talking about what we can prepare for as Freemasons, things we should be thinking about when it comes to returning to lodge. And really, in some ways, this is applicable outside of Freemasonry, right? This is applicable to anybody who takes any type of break and then gets ready to return to something. What are some of the things that you need to think about upon a return, right? What are some of the things that you need to consider upon returning to your lodge, to your job, to training, to whatever it is, right? Because that transition period from taking a break to returning can be very much a challenge. So but we'll just give it a few minutes. I guess I could keep talking about, again, the vacuuming. What is your, so it's kind of one of those things where it might be best to just take a bit of a break for a couple minutes before we keep going. I'll see if anybody on Twitter has anything to say. Those are all really good things to think about. See, I was thinking about it more from the other perspective, Mr. Keeps. I was thinking about it more from things that the individual member needs to have ready upon his return to lodge. But you bring up a very good point. It works both ways. Lodge administration needs to consider the same things, right? They need to consider, for example, so for example, if your lodge building has a refrigerator and you've been off or had a break over the summer months, yeah, when you get back, you should take a moment to go into that fridge and check to see if the Masonic lodges are, or if the fridge is full of old food, or if somebody cleaned it out, right? You want to check, again, if your building has not had people checking it out or been active in it over the last several months. Did any rodents make their way in? Did any insects make their ways in? Obviously, fire extinguishers being inspected that should be done whatever the local requirements are. I think in Ontario it's every 6 months they need to be checked. But again, if that 6 months fell during a break, what do you do? Whatever it might be, right? There are a lot of different things that the lodge administration needs to be considering before it makes its way to the meetings again. And then updated membership roles. And I mean, I talked about that yesterday when it came to email. However, you could apply it just as much to anything else, right? The idea of if you change your email address, if you move, if you change your phone number, did you let your Masonic lodge know about the change in advance? Or not even in advance, but did you let your Masonic lodge know about the change when it took place? And if it took place over the summer, where Freemasonry might not be in mind as much, now is your chance to do so before you or when you return to lodge. Dietary requirements, that's something that we as Freemasons really don't check on near enough. And we should be checking on way more. What are the dietary requirements that we're dealing with? I think we should check on those things a lot more than we do. So yeah, those things are all very, very important. Welcome if you're just joining us. We're just waiting a couple minutes. We're just getting some vacuuming done in my place. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the stream. And let me know if you have any thoughts or questions on Freemasonry. But Mr. Keeps on Ticking, I do like the fact that for you started focusing more on what the lodge administration needs to do to get its buildings ready for the return of membership, which is really important. But there's also the other side of it, what the individual members need to do to make sure that they're ready and prepared for lodge. But let's give it a bit of time. Like I said, I'm just going to wait for this vacuuming to finish, then I'll start on the main topic. It looks like there was a bit of a tragedy in Manitoba. There was a stabbing, I guess, that took place in a Manitoba First Nation. Two people passed away. It looks like 2 dead, according to CTV. I don't know where it's Hollow Water First Nation. Which is about, it looks like a couple hours north of Winnipeg, so. All that stuff is important on the members' side, as like it's got to be a mutual relationship, right? Mr. Keeps on Ticking. It's got to be a mutual relationship between the members themselves and the lodge, right? You can't, and this is one of my kind of oftentimes one of my bigger complaints with Freemasonry, right? It's not a lot of times you'll hear Grand Lodges talk, and what they'll say is, Masonic lodges need to make more of an effort to reach out to membership, which is true. And oftentimes, our Masonic lodges can do a very bad job at maintaining communication with membership. But by the same token, and something you also see very often is members not doing enough to maintain a connection with their Masonic lodge. I mean, if a member moves and changes his contact information, right, you can't expect the lodge to automatically know that. It's up to the member to advise the lodge of the change in contact information. And also, let's say for whatever reason, you don't get your lodge summons or your lodge trestle board, or you don't get messages from the lodge. Yes, it's good for the membership, for the lodge itself to pay attention and double check, but it's also somewhat incumbent upon the membership to inform the lodge of what's happening, right? To inform the lodge that they are not getting the information. I mean, somebody gave me this example. If at your job, you're supposed to get a paycheck every 2 weeks, and let's say 1 week you don't get your paycheck, you're not going to just say, well, I'm not going to bring this up. I'm going to trust my job to deal with it. Right? You're going to say, you're going to check in. You're going to contact somebody. You're going to ask some people some questions, right? And in the same way with Freemasonry, if you're not receiving your summons, if you're not receiving contact info, you're not just going to say, I'll just not bring it up. You're going to bring it up. At least you should. So it's got to be a two-way street. The members have responsibility to the lodge, and the lodge has responsibility to its membership. And sometimes I think, especially from Grand Lodges and Masonic leadership, we are far, far too quick to expect the membership or expect the lodge administration to do all the work and not place any requirements on our on our membership to do the work as well. Yeah, that's a real shame, unfortunately. I'm just learning about it now also. Right, 2 dead, including suspect following mass. So I guess 1 victim and then 1 perpetrator following mass stabbing on Manitoba First Nations. 6 people, 6 victims taken to the hospital altogether. So, and 1 person died. So I guess there's going to be a live stream or a press conference at 2 p.m. Central Time, which would be, I guess, about 45 minutes from now. But yes, as a Manitoba, someone born and raised in Manitoba, in Winnipeg, Manitoba, obviously I hate to see anything like that happen anywhere, but especially in Manitoba, where, like I said, I was born and raised, Keystone Province. Without Manitoba, we'd all be leaning to the left and to the right, depending where you live, because we'd all be falling in towards the center. Sergio Sinez. Hello, Sergio. How's it going? Thank you for being here. I hope you're having a good day. Have you been on the stream before? I don't recall if you have been or not. Sergio, so how's it going for you? How is your day treating you? Welcome, Sergio. Well, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe button. I do this stream to talk about Freemasonry. I do 1 p.m. streams and 1 a.m. streams. I also have videos, podcasts all that jazz. Well, welcome. Today, what I was going to talk about is things that we as Freemasons need to be thinking about upon our return to Lodge. But yeah, I do hope you'll take a moment, if you're not done so yet, to hit the like and subscribe button. I've been a Freemason myself since 2007, so I'm guessing by your symbol, your avatar, your picture, your profile pic, that you are a Freemason yourself. Let me know which jurisdiction. I can't know for sure, obviously. Some people just like the symbols and designs, but oh, so you've got me beat by a few years. Do you mind if I ask which jurisdiction you're from? Oh, I love Texas. I've been to Texas, how many times? 4 or 5. We actually have another Texas Mason on here. He's an EA. He just joined, so he's brand new. Goes by Texas Freemason. I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth area, and a bunch of Masonic lodges therein. Actually, hold on one second. I'll be back. Let me see if I can show you something, Sergio. And like I said, I hope if you're not done so, you'll hit the like and subscribe button. If I can find it. Here they are. All right, I'm back. I do love glass Coke bottles. I collect them. I probably have too many, to be honest. All right, Sergio, I'm back. Let me see if I can find quickly some of my coins that I've received from Texas Masonic lodges. I've been lucky in that I've got a bunch of them. Because I've visited Texas. Like I said, I visited Gonzales, Texas. I've been to the Texas Masonic Retirement Community for Family Day. I've been lucky enough to visit a ton of really awesome Masonic buildings in Texas. I'm trying to find the coins. I'm also a member of Tranquility Lodge 2000 out of Texas, so that's really cool as well. I'm proud to be a Texas Freemason. Now I gotta find all these coins. Oh, here's one. Brad Billings. I know it's backwards. Brad Billings, Grandmaster 2022. And then we've got this one here, the Longhorns. And those are, if I recall correctly, my 2 Texas coins. But let me see, I've got some Texas pins as well. I'll see if I can, oops, and I'm dropping stuff. I'll see if I can find those pins to show you. As I'm dropping all my coins. At least I have coins to drop. That's a nice feeling, you know? Alright, hold on just one sec. These are all of my Masonic pins. Welcome, Leonardo. Thank you for being here once again. I hope you're doing well. I don't want to take them all off of the thing, but let me see if I can find my Texas pins on here in particular and show them off. Oh, there's one. I really got to get these in better order. I don't know if you guys can see that one there. That's the... Shoot, hold on just one sec. Where'd it go? There it is. All right, this one here is the Texas Longhorns. If I could pull this up a little bit. There it is. Texas Longhorns. So that's from Texas. I've got one here from Brad Billings as well, I believe, or from Texas. I think Webb Masonic Lodge, which is kind of north of Fort Worth. Can't actually find it now. Oh, hold on just one sec. I'll be right back. Give me one more moment. All right, you got your...
Everything.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
See you later.
And next time when you go back, clean up and check more therapy, okay?
It looks fine to me, but all right. All right, thank you so much.
Take care. Close the...
Hook me horns. Is that what they're called? Or are you saying like hook me up with horns? I can't do that, but if you join my Patreon, I can hook you up with some cool stuff. But I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for being here, Sergio. So, today I want to talk about, finally get around to my main topic. It took me a little while. Get around to talking about what we, actually, hold on just one more second. I'm going to close my window again because we got some traffic coming in from outside. Okay, talk about what we as Freemasons need to think about upon our return to lodge. Oh, I thought you were saying like hook me up with horns, which I have never. I've never heard the phrase hook 'em horns. I've heard of like Texas Longhorns, obviously, but never heard of quote unquote hook me horns. All right. Or hook 'em horns. Is that an expression? Nice, Leonardo. That is awesome. Your lodge, again, it's in Brazil, right? Not in Rio, though, if I recall correctly. Or is it in Rio? It's in Brazil, though, if I recall correctly. Sao Paulo, that's right. Where is Sao Paulo as compared to Rio? Because again, I got to visit Rio and meet some absolutely amazing brothers. I've said this before, the best Masonic meal I ever had was itself in Rio. It was incredible. But how far is Sao Paulo from Rio? I'm looking this up. Because maybe if I ever get a chance to visit Rio again, because flying to Rio is relatively cheap. I don't know how cheap it is to fly to Sao Paulo, comparatively speaking. Is Rio, like, from city perspective, how big is Rio compared to, let's say, like, does Sao Paulo have its own airport? Is it big city, small city? Rio to Sao Paulo. So it's a 6-hour drive. There is a bus that's $16 one way. Holy, that's cheap. That's super cheap. Oh, so probably be cheaper to fly into Sao Paulo than Rio, probably. I always assumed the cheapest place to fly in would be Rio. But the bigger the city, usually they're more of a hub. Usually it's a lot cheaper. Oh, it actually is, yeah. Even though Sao Paulo's bigger, it is a lot cheaper to fly to Rio de Janeiro, probably because it's the capital. Um, but crazy cheap buses to go from one to the other. Huh, that's kind of cool. But welcome once again. I hope everybody is doing well. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All right, so I figure now we can start talking about the main subject, which is again getting ready for the return to lodge. Many jurisdictions, not every jurisdiction, and not every lodge in every jurisdiction. TG, welcome. Thank you for joining. I hope you hit that like and subscribe button. They have it's called going dark. They take a break over the summer. That doesn't mean that Freemasonry stops over the summer. There is still a ton of stuff that needs to be done. However, they have barbecues, they take part in community events, summer events, parades. They also sometimes use the time to fix up and clean up their Masonic buildings. So they do a ton of stuff as it relates to Freemasonry, but they don't have meetings. The meetings start up again usually in September. Yesterday was the first meeting in Windsor of Freemasonry since June. And when you are returning to Freemasonry after a long break, it's important as a member that there are certain things that we keep in mind. A lot of lodges are slowing down, unfortunately, for better or worse. And sometimes that's on the lodge administration. Sometimes that's on lodge membership. So what are some of the things that we as Freemasons, as members in particular, need to be thinking about? Let's see if I can find my list once again. First, payment of dues. Unfortunately, for better or worse, a lot of Masons have a tendency to forget to pay their dues or to forget to pay their dues on time, right? And over the summer, when you're not going to lodge every day, you don't have that constant reminder, right? Keeping Freemasonry in one's mind means considering those simply as practical and important things that both enrich a member's Masonic career and the lodge to which he belongs. Small things often easy to overlook. So question, when do you pay your dues, right? If you haven't paid your dues yet, you have about 4 months in Ontario before you're going to be suspended administratively, right? So think about that. Before you go to lodge, make a little note. Have I paid my dues for this year? If I haven't, can I bring a check with me to the next Masonic meeting, which we have coming up? Dues cards. Do you know where your dues card is or dues cards are? Is your dues card in good condition? Is it up to date? Right? Again, over summer, how many members are keeping track of their Masonic dues cards or any of their Masonic documentation? Maybe you're not thinking about it as much as you should, right? For me, when I'm leaving my house, the first thing I make sure I have is my dues card, and the second thing I make sure I have is my credit cards, right? And I've got my 5 dues cards here. Tranquility Lodge in Texas, Windsor Lodge, Border Cities Lodge, Harmony Lodge, and Lodge Holy Land. I also have my first aid certification. And so making sure I have these is not only showing respect to the dues card, but it's showing respect to the physical representation of my good standing within my lodge. It is often the first piece of sure information requested when that member is visiting a new lodge. Take care of your dues cards, even over the summer, even when you are not necessarily expecting to need it, because summer's going to end soon, and then you're going to need it once again. So make sure you have your dues card. Do you know when your next meeting is? Right? Again, if you don't attend lodge regularly, it might be easy for you to forget when your next meeting actually takes place. So take a bit of time to get a calendar. It can be electronic, it can be physical, and write down or input when your meeting schedule is. You can do that for the whole year, but if you haven't done it yet, August or early September is a great time to mark in your calendar when your meetings are going to take place, right? Well, even for that, Sergio, so I talk about this a lot on my stream, right? There are still responsibilities that I believe you as a member have, even if you've been away from the lodge, and responsibilities, right? Obviously, paying your dues is one of them. So the fact that you're paying your dues, and I'm going to assume paying them on time, is a good thing. I assume you are taking care of your dues cards as well, because I assume after you mailed in your dues, they sent you your card. So I assume you're taking care of that, which is a good thing as well. The other thing you need to ask yourself is, are you still receiving correspondence from the lodge? Even though, Sergio, you've been away for 6 years, you should still, to my understanding, be receiving correspondence from your secretary of your summons or your trestle board, right? And you've had the break. Every Masonic member should be asking himself, good, that's awesome, Sergio, I'm glad to hear it, right? Did I receive my summons? Did I receive my trestle board in August or early September for our next meeting, right? The summons or trestle board is a vital member resource. It provides content information for officers or committee members, updates on lodge activities and special events, and notices regarding any last-minute changes, right? As summons, newsletter. Basically, we call it in Canada a summons. Oftentimes in the States, it's called a trestle board, but it's basically the lodge newsletter. The reason it's called a summons is because it's summoning you to lodge, usually somewhere on the front page. It will say something to the effect of, by the worshipful master, you are hereby summoned to the next meeting of Border Cities Lodge to take place on this date and on this time, right? And that's why yesterday I talked so much about email etiquette and email protocols, because the majority of these summons is being sent out via email. It will also have information on it about who to contact if you have any Masonic questions, who's on different committees, upcoming events. It's a very important piece of information that is very often ending up in spam folders or getting bounced back because we have incorrect email information, which is why you need to pay attention to your Masonic emails. Right? So the question is, if you are returning to your lodge, have you checked to make sure you are receiving your summons or trestle board? Sometimes email addresses get lost, email distribution lists are altered on accident. Take a moment to think back over the last few months. Did you receive any lodge correspondence? If not, get in touch with your lodge administration, whatever numbers you have. Especially over summer, just say, look, throughout July and August, I didn't receive any correspondence from the lodge. Is it that you guys have my correct email address? Do you have my correct contact information? If you are one of the few that still relies on quote unquote snail mail, do you have my correct mailing address? All of that stuff matters a great deal. So, Does your lodge know how to contact you? Summer is a very popular time for moving. Actually, most people move between May and September. That's when most people move houses, right? Move addresses. So that is also the time when lodge has gone dark. So if you moved during the summer months, did you advise your Masonic lodge of your change of address? Did you advise them of any other changes that relate to that change of address? Because you're not meeting, you run the risk and the danger of out of sight, out of mind. However, it's incredibly important that if we as Freemasons are moving during the summer, we advise our lodge of the change of address. Um, right? And so that's stuff that needs to be considered uh, when you're returning. And then there's also the idea of maintaining contact with the lodge. So, Sergio, I know you said, for 6 years you did not attend lodge regularly. You mailed in your dues. However, right, that doesn't mean there aren't ways, and you're returning to lodge, which is great. That doesn't mean there aren't ways to maintain contact with the lodge outside of attending the meetings. I always suggest to members, when the holidays are coming up, why not take a few moments to to send a Christmas card or a holiday card to the lodge, just saying, I'm still thinking of you guys, I miss you guys, I'm busy right now, but I try to be back when I can be. Right? It could be any holiday. It could be Easter, could be just any random time, right? Send a letter to your lodge saying, I miss you guys, I'm thinking of you, I hope you're doing well. Another thing that you can do is maybe, especially with all the apps nowadays, if you have a lodge junior warden, right? Maybe offer, I can't make it to lodge, but I'm going to order the food for you guys. And I hope that you guys will check that out. So what you do is you order the food on his behalf, and you help cover those costs. It's just a way to show the lodge that you're still thinking of them, even though obviously you're away from them. You're still thinking of them, and you're thinking of the work that the people put into it, right? So again, going through the list one more time, as lodges are returning from winter break, things that you as a Mason can do. First, get a calendar and write down all of the meeting dates you have for the remainder of the year, from September through to December. And you can add within that a list of not just the dates themselves of the meetings, but any special events that are taking place, as well as anything else that you have going on with Freemasonry, right? Get a calendar. You can put, if you wanted to, you could put exclusively Masonic events and have a special calendar that is exclusive for Masonic events. Or you could have a calendar where you put personal work and Masonic events in at the same time. But either way, you've got the calendar. Take the time to include your Masonic events in it, right? And have it somewhere where you can always check, right? That's one. Make sure you have your dues card. Make sure it's in good condition. Make sure you know where to find it. You should always have your dues card in the best condition as possible to make sure that you have the physical representation of your lodge with you. Make sure you've paid your dues. If you haven't paid your dues, make sure you bring a check with you to your lodge. Get those dues paid. If you don't pay them in the next 4 months in Ontario, you end up potentially being suspended. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're still receiving your summons from your lodge. Make sure all of your contact information with the lodge is up to date. If it's not, for whatever reason, take a few moments to update the contact info. And if you moved over the summer, even more important to advise the lodge of any change in contact info. And that, I guess, it's from keeping Freemasonry in mind. I'll put the link in the chat. I hope that you guys will check that out. And let me know if there's anything that you do in particular with Freemasonry, with maintaining contact with your Masonic lodge, in order to, I guess, maintain the relationship, and anything in particular you do when you're returning to lodge. A lot of guys will take some time to practice, to go through the mentorship program once again. They'll kind of ramp up practicing opening and closing in the various degrees. All of that stuff matters a lot, right? And it's really important. So that's something else to consider. Did you spend any time over the summer practicing your Masonic ritual? And if you didn't, may I suggest that you do so? Well, you can't really help somebody join, Sergio, right? There's a process in place. Really, to me, when they ask, can you help me join? What they're really asking is, can you get me in touch with the lodge? Because what they're doing is kind of what we advise, right? To be one, ask one. So what I would do is in that scenario is you get them in touch with the lodge in general, right? You invite them to, for example, dinner before lodge or after lodge, or you invite them for coffee, and you bring along a few Masons with you. Because what I would say is I can't help you join. What I can do is have you meet some of my Masonic brothers. We'll get to know you. You will get to know them. We'll figure out if we think this will be a good fit, and then we'll proceed from there. The next steps being sponsorship, application, the rest of the steps, right? So, I mean, I always say, even if somebody wants to join Freemasonry, the first step should not be a desire to join per se. The first step should be a desire to learn more about the lodge, get to know more about the brethren, and make sure everybody gets along. Because the most important thing at the start for a successful Masonic career is 100% going to be the extent to which everybody gets along with everybody else, right? A lot of people get way too concerned with things like the esoteric side of it. At the start, it's how well do you get along with your brothers? And for that, you just kind of have to meet them and talk to them. So what I'd say is, if somebody asks, can you help me join? I'd say, let's have coffee, with me and with several other of my Masonic brothers and members of the lodge. We'll get to know you. We'll chat with you. We'll talk about why you want to join, and we'll kind of go from there. I think that is the best approach to take. But I wouldn't be wary of it. I think that's actually a really awesome thing. The more people you have interested in talking to you and interested in joining Freemasonry, I mean, that can only be a good thing, right? That's a very, very good thing, I think. So, I mean, and if there is somebody who asks about you joining, and for whatever reason you're incredibly wary of it, like you just don't think they'd be a good fit, that's another issue altogether. And in that case, even in that case, I would still invite them out for coffee with the other brethren, because you might want to get a second opinion. You never know for sure. And other people might see something different, unless again there's something that you I guess know about them, right? Something in their past that might be concerning. Otherwise, invite them out for coffee with the brothers. And most lodges, I can't speak for yours particularly, but most lodges will invite the public or interested applicants, anyways, out to dinners before lodge or after lodge. Um, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope I was able to answer or at least give some advice to people interested in joining Freemasonry. Or not, sorry, joining Freemasonry, interested or people returning to Freemasonry after the summer break and things that they need to be thinking about and consider. I hope everybody watching this, if you're not done so yet, will take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button. And let me know, again, if there's anything that you guys want to talk about. Well, which is, I mean, everybody has their different reasons as to why they're in the craft, and that includes, you know, people who've been in the craft for years and years and years, right? Again, that's why you want to have coffee and dinner with them, because it's a chance for the lodge and for you to ask questions about why they want to join and to explain where and how they might be incorrect in their assumptions about Freemasonry. And in the same token, it's a chance for them to talk to you about what they want from it, right? But I wouldn't be wary of it because, again, it's one of those things where it's pretty awesome, I think, to potentially get a chance to talk to someone. And even that provides an opportunity if you think about it, Sergio, right? Like if there is somebody out there who has this incorrect idea of Freemasonry as being some secret society and wanting to join because they've watched too many conspiracy-minded TV shows, that provides you an opportunity to talk to them about the actual truth of Freemasonry and what it really is, and the wonderful things about it, and hopefully that gives them a different view of the craft. And then they may want to join, but they may end up wanting to join for completely different reasons than they initially wanted to join for. Right? And so, even if they initially have, shall we say, some more quote unquote negative reasons or desires to view Freemasonry, um, at the end of the day, hopefully they will have the more positive views to join. And you can, that's why I do, one of the reasons I do this stream, right, is to make sure that when I'm talking to, I talk to people about what Freemasonry is, how it works, and try to dispel some of those rumors and help people kind of learn more the positives of Freemasonry. And there have been people who initially had some more negative views of the craft, or not even negative views, but incorrect views of the craft, that been able to speak with and show them the more accurate or correct side of the craft. Men, or at least men trying to build great character. Whether or not we have great character, I don't know, but we're trying, right? We're trying to build it. We don't always succeed, but we do absolutely try our best. And now we're back, just hanging out. Sergio, let me know if I answered your question well. To everybody watching this, let me know if I've answered your questions well, and if you have any questions, comments, thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. That's a good reason to join. A lot of people join because they have family connections. Certainly, I joined because of my family connections. There's a difference between the reasons you join and the reasons you remain active. But, you know, a lot of people um, have a tendency to think that Freemasonry, you have to have a family connection, which is not the case. You don't need to have a family connection to join Freemasonry. And a lot of people join and they're the first ones in their family. They join because they're looking to make new friends. You often see Freemasonry being very popular amongst immigrant groups as a way to make new friends and form a sense of community. Sometimes people join because they want to be part of historical society. Sometimes people join because they want to increase their network. There's a lot of different reasons why people join. As a general rule, I'm pretty agnostic as to judging the reasons for somebody to or not to join Freemasonry. If they are, so long as I think that we will be able to get along well with them. The issue, the danger is if they're joining out of kind of conspiracy-minded nonsense, that can be a really dangerous thing, I think. But even then, right, I wouldn't immediately dismiss them. I would just talk to them more about where those ideas come from and tell them at least what my experiences are with Freemasonry. So, we're going to give it a bit more time. We're going to see who else joins. Please, as always, take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. No rush at all. Let me know how you're doing. If there's anything that you want to talk about, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear it. No worries. Mr. Keeps on Ticking, thank you for being here. But we're back to just the hangout portion of this stream. So we'll probably go for another couple hours. Then we will end the stream for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. All right, Sergio. Well, please hit that subscribe button before you go. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. I'm on these streams 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. The 1 a.m. streams are just hangout and chill streams. The 1 p.m. streams are more specific topics. Like today, the topic is going to be, tomorrow's topic, which will be Friday, is actually 1 p.m. is going to be another hangout and just ask us anything stream. But we'll see what people want to talk about. No, not 1 a.m. on Friday. I mean, I don't think so. I may if I'm bored and I'm not sleeping, just do it for fun. But I don't think I will be. I guess, yeah, it will be tomorrow morning. I guess, yeah, because today's Thursday. So I'll be on 1 a.m. Friday, so 1 a.m. tonight, and then 1 p.m. Friday, but not 1 a.m. Saturday. I don't do the live streams on Friday or Saturday. And Sunday, I may have another episode released. I'll probably have another short released. It'll be a lot of fun. Awesome, Ryan. Thank you so much. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it very, very much. These red shirts, these are my favorite shirts to wear, so thank you. I appreciate that also. All right, I was going to give it a bit more time. I'm just going to see if anyone else jumps in the chat to say hello. Please hit that like and subscribe button as always, and then probably finish this stream maybe a couple hours from now, or 10 minutes, do a 2-hour stream. We shall see. They did. They did a bit of work in here, so I finally got that finished. I had to get it done for a while, so it's nice to get it finished. And thank you to all the people doing the work on it. My apartment is much cleaner, much nicer than it was a couple hours ago. So much, much appreciation for that. We're back to just hanging out. We're going to wait to see who joins. Please take a moment, jump in the chat, say hello. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear them. And thank you to everybody who's been here so far. Welcome back, Mr. Keeps. So anything else new going on in your in the world of Mr. Keeps? Any thoughts on kind of some of the advice I was giving? I know it's very general advice, but from a non-Masonic perspective, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing though, right? You take a break from something, work, whatever it is, and you need to go back to it. You have to think about all the things you need to do to get back into kind of fighting shape, quote unquote, as it relates to your return. Athletes go through the same thing, right? When they are getting ready from the off season to the on season, there's certain things that they need to think about. Um, when it comes to returning, right? And also, just because there's a break doesn't mean that there's a break, right? Even in the off season, a professional athlete is still taking the time to exercise, watch their diet, watch plays, whatever they need to do in order to um, whatever is necessary to be as prepared as possible for the return from the break, for the return from the off season. Well, I mean, then be part of the DEI committee. Maybe it's a chance for you to get a different perspective on DEI, as well as you to provide a different perspective to the committee on the same, and maybe strike or try to find some type of balance therein. Right? Sometimes the things that you think are you're going to enjoy the least, you might actually enjoy the most. Sometimes keeping an open mind is a good thing. I always say that in Freemasonry. Just because you hear something or you see something that at first Masonically seems to be very, very not good, doesn't mean that's necessarily the case. It might actually work out better than you think. It's a great game. It's my favorite game. Or at least I should say it's the one game I played that features Freemasonry prominently, so I really, really enjoy it for that reason. I hope that you enjoy it as well for the same reason. Or just hope you enjoy it in general, for whatever reason, right? It's a fun game. I like it. I don't know near enough about technology to say. But what would you play Assassin's Creed 3 on? Would you play it on your would you play it on your like do you have a PS5, PS3? I have a PS3. So that's what I play it on. Interesting enough, speaking of geometry and why geometry is so important, they guess they form characters in games by triangles, and the more triangles you have, the better the image looks, right? So the reason why back in the day everything looked so kind of blocky and angular is because they could only have so many triangles for the resolution. Now they're up to like a million or something. Like here, I'm gonna look this up. Number of triangles, video game characters over the years. So PlayStation 1, 400 per character. Final Fantasy X use about 3,000 for the main characters, but 9,000 for cutscenes. Silent Hill 3 had 5,700. Looks like it's gone up to I don't know about gaming purposes to say if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Well, $40 for bundles seems reasonable. According to Google AI, let's see. Older consoles like PS1 and N64 use characters with a few hundred to a few thousand polygons, while modern AAA games feature characters with tens or even hundreds of thousands of triangles. So there you go. Geometry matters. Geometry is important. All right, well, we're about 2 hours in, so I think I'll leave this stream for now. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're going, please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you all potentially tonight at 1 a.m. All right, guys, see you all later.